And that is why our campaign is targeted at reducing speed. To ensure that people drive at reasonable speed, we insist that if you are driving within the metropolis, you should not drive beyond 30 kilometers per hour to avoid incidences, including road traffic crashes that we are talking about. Should there be any event when you are on the highway and you are driving within the 30 kilometers per hour, you will be able to control your vehicle and control whatever situation that is happening on the road. And that is why we advocate that anybody that is driving within the metropolis should be at least not beyond 30 kilometers per hour.
As Yuletide season approaches, an increased number of accidents has been recorded on major roads of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, in the past weeks. Apart from traffic congestion during Ember months as a result of influx of people, a lot of road crashes across the country have been attributed to bad roads, overspeeding, and reckless driving. With the alarming rate of insecurity in the country, some drivers and passengers have been advised to shun night journey so as to remain safe. According to reports, not less than 5 separate road accidents were recorded in the Abuja Municipal Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory on the 26th and 27th of November 2021. It was gathered that the cause of the accidents was as a result of overspeeding by the drivers, thereby resulting in casualties and vehicles damaged beyond repair. In an exclusive interview, the FCT Federal Road Safety Corps Sector Commander Samuel Ochi told Roots TV that
incidentally, the person that eventually died in the crash on Friday happened to be somebody that came into the city anew. That is a new person in the city, and unfortunately, without observing the major traffic signs, ran into a pole and eventually died. So we have the understanding that when traffic increases, the nature that we're realizing in the FCT, that it calls for a lot of caution on the highway. It calls for reduction of speed. We're all aware that in the FCT we have very good roads. We can describe the roads in the FCT as very good. We also have large expanse of roads that covers virtually the metropolis. And even when you're driving to the outskirts, the area councils will also have good roads. And unfortunately, people that come into the city take advantage of these good roads to the disadvantage of themselves. And that is why our campaign is targeted at reducing speed. To ensure that people drive at reasonable speed, we insist that if you are driving within the metropolis, you should not drive beyond 30 kilometers per hour to avoid incidences, including road traffic crashes that we are talking about.
the primary role of the officials of FRSC is making the highway safe for motorists and other road users, as well as checking roadworthiness of vehicles. But over time, officials of the FRSC have been accused of engaging in extortion of motorists, most especially private car owners. Ochiwa, reacting to this allegation, stated that the agency has successfully put in place stringent action in dealing with any official involved in such actions.
So we are aware of the fact that every other year during this time, there's always an influx of population, as a result of people coming into the city, and as a result of that, also vehicular movement are increased. We know that a number of our staff have been involved in one extortion issue or the other, but then within us we have very stringent measures that are in place. Of course, the Corps Marshal is a zero tolerance to all corrupt practices, and he upholds that in all his measures, including those of us at the field level. Now, for me in the FCT, if you are involved in any act of corruption and your case is brought to my table, of course, necessary disciplinary action will be taken and are being taken to address any staff that is involved in that.
Also, it was gathered that operatives of the agency sometimes work under severe directives from top officials in order to meet up with their daily remittances.
We give preference to movement of traffic, particularly at the peak hours. In other words, when people are going to their workplaces, our emphasis, or probably going back to their houses in the evening, our emphasis, and in line with the arrangement that we have with the FCD authority, is to make sure that traffic control is emphasized. So we give that emphasis, and we ensure that our men don't get involved in enforcement during that time. And that is why it is necessary for us to deploy to areas that we know are capable of creating gridlock to ensure that those traffic are cleared. Now, the other side of the story is a situation where I'll give a scenario of a situation where law-abiding Nigerians are on the road, and then a recalcitrant offender is doing something contrary that could lead to loss of lives, that could lead to crash on the highway. Of course, our men that have the mandate, the statutory mandate to enforce the law, will not close their eyes. And that is why in those circumstances, they pull such people back for enforcement.
He therefore stated that,
I'm happy that you are talking to the commanding officer in charge of the state, and I've given you my word that my telephone numbers are open 24 hours. At least if there's any commanding officer in the state, I'm the most superior. So you have the right to call me. If for any reason anybody is found to be extorting the general public, and then I get to know and disciplinary actions are not taken, then you will know that there's a collaboration between the commanding officer and the men on the road. But I don't think there is anything like that.
The FCT sector commander stated that the agency is committed to making its operations friendlier and providing quality service to the general public.
We have a correspondence that runs 24 hours with the general public. We have our platforms that are available to the general public to make their comments. We have the traffic radio that interacts with the general public, and all that are platform for us to be able to interact. And as much as possible, we have every month of the year, 7 days of the week, for every month of the year, that we don't give tickets to any offender nationwide. I think that's a good platform for us to interact with the general public. We call it free safety checks. And that period, we only make observations on what we have noticed may be a defect on your vehicle. We allow you to go and put it in order.
Ochi therefore cautioned drivers against overspeeding and reckless driving, as it could lead to untimely death or other forms of accidents. He further assured that in order to keep the road safe for those traveling in and out of Abuja, sensitization of drivers on traffic rules and regulations will continue throughout the year.
In the FCT, we have our measures in place already. We started our public enlightenment, public sensitization since September, and on the 14th precisely of this month, we shall be launching what we call Operation Readiness, Operation Show of Readiness, now to tell the general public that we are ready to defend every road user in the FCT to ensure safety. And we're going to do that in collaboration with other agencies of government, with NEMA, with Nigerian police, with civil defense, all of us putting our hands together to ensure that there is safety on the highway in the FCT. We're looking at the possibility of recording zero road traffic fatal crashes in the FCT between now and 15th of January. We'll try to sustain that.
He also said,
if you are using one way, driving against traffic, we are going to attract our attention. If you are using phone while driving, if you are overloading your vehicle, if you are also beating traffic lights, all these critical offenses will be tackled during this period. And for those that are carrying passengers, you are using commercial vehicles to carry passengers, and you overload your vehicle or you overspeed, as the case may be, your vehicle will be impounded and you'll be made to face disciplinary action.